Hello class, today we'll be doing your guided one lab. To find this lab, go ahead and go to your Canvas page and go to your assignments module and find your guided lab one. Once you have it open, we are ready to begin. In this lab, we will be going over these different skills in Excel. The first one is create and save a new workbook, explore the Excel interface, create a new worksheet in the workbook, copy and rename the workbook, create and format labels, enter data into cells, use the fill handle to copy and fill a series, explore formatting of values, merging cells, adjust column widths and row heights, apply borders to cells, use page layout, and set print areas. Okay. We are now ready to begin. First thing we should do is go ahead and open up Excel. To do this, we can go to our search bar and type in Excel. Once we have Excel open, we want to go ahead and press blank workbook. In our blank workbook now, first thing we want to do is save the workbook. So let's go ahead and go to File, go to Save As, and now go to Enter File Name here. Go ahead and type in your UID and your lab one. So underscore lab, capital L, underscore one, and make sure that we have our Excel book selected below. Okay, before we save the file, I recommend that we assign this into a specific folder. I would go to Browse, and I will go to our desktop right here. And now once we have this, go ahead and press Save. Now, if I were to minimize Excel, I should see now that I have the Excel worksheet saved on my desktop. Okay. Moving on, we are now ready to explore what Excel has to offer. First thing we want to look at is the top left, and we see right here that we have the file name that we just named for this worksheet. The next thing we want to do is look downward, and we want to see this file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, automate, help, developer, and Acrobat. These are your main menus that we'll be going through as it brings up different categories for each of these main menus. For now, we'll only be working with the home main menu for now. Moving down from the main menu bar, we call this next one the ribbon. The ribbon contains all the shortcuts needed or commands needed for what you are working with in the Excel file. We see we have different categories to work with. We have font, alignment, number, styles, cells, editing, sensitivity, add-ins, and Adobe Acrobat. If we go to insert, we see that we have different categories in here. Moving on, we are going to look down to the left of our ribbon and look at this box right here. This is called our name box, and our name box is what shows what is highlighted in our cells. If I were to click on cell J4, we can see that the name box has changed to J4. Another property of the name box is that we can edit what is in this and type in our own location in the Excel worksheet, and our cell will be highlighted for that one. Moving to the right, we can see that we have a cancel button, which is our X button right here, which is not highlighted. And moving on to the right of that, we see that we have a function button here, which is our insert function. Go ahead and click this, and we see that we have an insert function window pop up. From here, we are able to search any function that we need for Excel. For example, I will type in sum here and press go, and we see that all the sums functions in Excel are available here. I press OK, and we see that it brings up the function arguments. We're not going to worry about this right now, so go ahead and click out. Okay, moving on to the right, we have our function bar. This is our function bar or formula bar where we'll be able to alter what is being changed in our cell. So rather than typing out in our cells, we can directly change our from the formula bar. So go ahead and click on the formula bar and start typing, and we see that is being edited in real time. Okay. Moving on, let us go ahead and analyze what this big blank space is. Okay. In Excel, we have our columns on the top, starting from A all the way down to Z, and then moving on to triple letters, and then double letters, my bad, then to triple letters, as it's infinitely expanding. We also have our rows on the left side, and we see if we were to select column A, row 2, it is highlighted for ease of use, so we know where we are in our workbook. Moving downward, you'll see at the very bottom left, we have our sheet 1 here. Our sheet 1 indicates what sheet we're working with in the workbook. If we want to, we can go ahead and add new worksheets with the plus button. And as we can see here, each sheet is independent of the original sheet. So if I'm in sheet 2 and I have these filled out, I go to sheet 1, we see nothing is filled out because they are individual of each other. Okay. Moving on, we can now move on through our lab. Okay, first thing we want to do is that we want to go ahead and create a new sheet. To do this, go ahead and go to the bottom left and go ahead and press this plus button right here. Once we have this plus button, do not worry about what the sheet name is, since we're going to be renaming it anyway. Go ahead and right-click on the new sheet and click on Rename. We're going to name the sheet Scores. Go ahead and press Enter. And we can now see that in the bottom left, our worksheet is now called Scores. Okay. Now, moving on, we now want to create a copy of this worksheet. So we're going to go and right-click on our Scores sheet, move our copy, and we want to go ahead and press Create Copy. Go ahead and press OK. And we should now have a Scores 2 that pops up here. But instead of it being Scores 2, we want to rename it to Backup. So go ahead and right-click, or you can double-click, delete, and now we want to type in Backup. Go ahead and press Enter. Now we have the backup sheet named. And now we're going to order this. So what I want to do is hold and drag the score sheet. And you see this little arrow on top right here. And I'm going to drag it in front of backup. Now we have scores sheet in front of the backup sheet. Okay, moving on, we want to make sure that we are in the score sheet, as this is where we'll be doing our work. So in cell A1, we're going ahead and type the word student. Once we type in student, we can go ahead and click on cell B1 and type score. Once we do that, go ahead and press enter. Now these are saved into our cells. Next thing we want to do is that we want to bold these two, A1 and B1. So what we want to do is select A1, click and hold, and drag over B1. Now, what we can do is go to our home menu, go to the font category, and press on the bold right here. We now have these bolded. Another way we can do this is that instead of clicking the bold button, we can do a shortcut of Control B. And as you can see, it is now bolded. Okay, next step from here is I make sure these are highlighted. And we're going to change the font size to 18. So make sure that you're in the font category, go to the font size, change it from 11, click the drop-down menu, and go ahead and press 18 right here. Okay. Once we do that, we are on to the next part. We now want to select our cell A2, and we want to type in number 1. Go ahead and press enter. We should see that we automatically move down to cell A3. So go ahead and type in 2. Go ahead and press enter. From here, we want to do a sequential from 1 through 10 in cells A2 through A11. But rather than us manually typing it in, we are going to let Excel do the work. What I'm going to do is select our cells from A2 to A3. These are now highlighted, and an important thing to notice is that when we're highlighting these cells, we have this green box right here. This is our fill control. So what we want to do is go ahead and hover over that green box, click and hold, and we want to drag it down all the way to A11. Once we do that, we let go, and we see that we have the numbers 1 through 10 in cells A2 through A11. Moving on now, once we've done this step, we want to go to cell B2, and we want to type in any number from 0 to 100. So let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead and press enter, and we should do the same for every student below. So let's do that real fast. Hey, we are now on to our next step. In this next step, we want to adjust our column width. So from our A1 and B2, we can see that the student category does not fit into what is being shown in Excel. To change this, what we can do is go in between the columns of A and B on the top here. And we see this line in between that is dividing them. We want to get this indicator here, and then we want to hold and drag. From here, we see that we are change the width of the column. But instead of this, we want to make it easier on ourselves. And the way to do this is to go in between, again, columns A and B, hover over the line between the two, and double click. We see that Excel automatically adjusts for us rather than me having the drag and hold. Another good thing to know here is that let's say both of these are not showing what we want them to show. So now I will highlight columns A and B, and I would double click in between the columns A and B to auto fit the columns. From there, we see that both columns A and B have been auto fit. Okay. Moving on, we want to now add a summary value. So in cell A12, let's go ahead and type in the word average. There we go. And then from here, we want to bold. So I'm going to press enter, highlight this all again, Control B, or you can go back to the home menu and click on the bold button. Now, next step is that we want to align the word average to the right side of the cell. To do this, we go to our home main menu. We want to go to our alignment category right here. And on the second row of the alignment, we want to press on this one right here that says align right. And as you can see, our average has moved from the left to the right. Moving on, we now want to do an average of all these scores for our students 1 through 10. So in cell B12, go ahead and highlight it. We are going to go to the home menu, go all the way over to our editing tab here, and go to the auto sum right here. Click the drop-down menu and click average. We see that Excel has created a formula for us, which is average, and contains our cells that need to be taken the average of. From this, we see that we have B2 highlighted all the way down through B11. Next thing we want to do is go ahead and press enter. We now have our average of our students. Okay. Moving on, we now want to change our formatting for our scores. To do this, we want to highlight our cells B2 through B12. But we can go ahead and click and drag to highlight our cells, or we can use our name box in the top left and instead type it in. So we can type in B2 colon B12, go ahead and press enter, and it should be highlighted. I'll give you a better example what that looks like here. And we see that Excel will do it for us. Okay, moving on, we want to change the formatting of these numbers. So go to the home menu, go to the number category this time, and in this box that says general, go to the drop-down menu, and we want to go ahead and click on number. And from what we've done, we see that our numbers now have 2 decimal points. Okay. Moving on, we now want to apply a border to the cells. To do this, we highlight our cells A1 through B12. You can highlight or type it in the name box. And then now we go to our home menu, the font category, go to the right on the second row, go to this picture right here, do the drop-down menu, and we want to go all the way down to all borders right here. Go ahead and click on all borders. There you go. Moving on, we now want to select our cell B12, and we want to give it a fill color. To do this, go to your home menu, go to the font category, go to this paint bucket right here, go to the drop-down menu, and select any color you want. Let's go ahead and select this light blue, and you can now see that our cell has the blue color. Next thing we want to do is that we want to format our cells so it looks a little bit better to the eyes. We want to select our cells A1 through B1, and we want to give it the same color that we've given it before. If you go back to the paint bucket, you can see that Excel saved our previous color. So all we need to do here is just press the paint bucket this time. Next thing we want to do is that we also want to fill in our A12 with the color as well. And there we go. Your work should now look like the picture provided in the lab. Now for the last steps, we want to go ahead and set a print area, and we want to preview our print area. To do this, we want to select our cells A1 through B12. Now we want to go to our main menu tabs and go to page layout. We want to click on print area right here in the page setup category. And we want to set the print area. Next step we should do here is that we want to go ahead and get rid of grid lines. So go to your view category and go ahead and deselect grid lines. We should now see that we don't have grid lines on our worksheet. You can also do this on your seat options over here in the page setup, in the page layout menu. Okay. Last step is that we want to go to File, Print, and your work should look similar to what is provided in the lab. Okay. Once we are done, we want to go ahead and go back to our guided lab, and we want to upload our lab. To do this, we will go to our Canvas page. And in our Canvas page, we should be able to submit our file. To do this, there will be a button that will tell you to submit your assignment. When you're submitting your assignment, we want to go ahead and search for your file. To do this, go ahead and click on Submit File, and what should pop up is your file finder. Now, because of where we saved our Excel file, I put it in the desktop, and then if I scroll through, I should see that it is this one right here, and then I will be able to upload it. Go ahead and double click it, and you should be able to upload your file. Make sure that when you're uploading your file as well, that you go ahead and close your Excel, or else it will not work. Okay, that is it for the guided lab one. I hope you guys have a great day.